While I was out of town, she went to my house and took all 4 of my car titles. And there were 4. Well, then I get a call from the respiratory therapist who's taking care of my mother at the house while we're gone. She was staying at the house looking after my mother. And she tells me what Katie's done. And Katie's at my store. And I called Katie and I said, look, what are you doing with my car titles? Well, when I got back from town, she gave me 3 of them. She didn't give me the 4th, but she had my car. And the bad part about this story is because Katie wanted to buy the car. Before I left, she kept assuring me that she was going to cash in she had some kind of checks on her credit cards. I remember that. And she was going to get the money to pay me for the car. So, I had the title signed with my name on it, my signature, along with my other 3 titles, in the drawer of the sofa table that was in my sitting room off my bedroom upstairs. And she went in and she stole it. And I can prove to everyone on here that she did not pay me for my Mercedes CLK convertible. She stole it. Just like she stole the money from my bank. Now, I can tell you this is the honest God's truth, and I'll take a lie detector's test. And there are proof, there are witnesses that saw me drugged. In fact, there are 2 witnesses that saw the shape that I was in. So I can prove this. Now, this is Katie Morrison and her husband. And I'll also let you know that she owed me money for 2 memory foam gel mattress sets with the remote controls. They were $2,500 a piece. 4 lawn chairs, some table chairs for a big, dining room table that I had bought that she asked me to pick up. And then there was a couple of gowns that were a couple $1,000 and some glitzy shoes. And then I think some other tops and things. Well, I can tell you that she gave me a Mustang, an old Mustang that she had that had a refurbished title to pay that debt that she owed me. Because she owed me money for those things she'd asked me to pay for that she said she didn't want Jerry to know about. And I was not supposed to tell him. Now, I can prove to you, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that she stole my car and never paid me a penny for it. And she drugged me. Now, this is the kind of person that Katie Morrison and her husband, those are the type of people they are. And what's really awful is there is a Rocky Hebb, who's a deputy sheriff, that bought property off of him. And he does their bidding. Now, let's go back to Rose. Now, that's Katie and Jerry. And then there's Rose. And I've told you their association. Now, let's look at Rose and her association with Neva Moss. Neva Moss is a realtor for Old Oak Properties in Buckhannon, West Virginia. In fact, she was our realtor on the Lick Run property. And we had gone to Neva to ask her about a reputable builder that she knew that we could hire. Well, she told us to go to Joey Loudon. Said he was highly recommended. He was a very good builder. Bull hockey puck. The guy didn't even have a builder's license. And we found that out 2 or 3 weeks into it. After we'd signed an agreement with him. Now, for those of you who aren't from Buckhannon, West Virginia, you wouldn't know this. But for those of you who are from that area, Clarksburg, Weston, Elkins, you will all know that Joey Loudon is a crook and a thug. And actually, his brother Jerry Loudon had to get on TV and apologize for stealing over $300,000 off of some people. That's the type of people they are. Well, we hired Joey to work on our property at 61 Pleasant Avenue. And he had a subcontractor working under him by the name of Brian George. And Brian George has got a pretty bad reputation himself. All you have to do is call the fire marshal over in Elkins, West Virginia. I think his name is Tom. And ask him about Brian George. Or even the building inspector. That might help you out a little bit. Well, Brian George took us for a ride. He got contracts on 4 properties. Didn't even finish one. Sabotaged one. And didn't finish the other 2, but yet he has thousands upon thousands upon thousands of our dollars and has never finished those. In fact, 2 of them, one of them he never began at all. One of them he never finished and had one of his employees living in. And they were drinking and wiping their poop on our towels and, oh my God, in that house. It was gross. And anyway, and then there was 61 Pleasant. Then they were stealing the materials. Oh my God. Yeah, stealing the materials. I kept having to replace the materials. And they did the shoddiest damn work I've ever seen in my life and didn't even finish the house properly. In fact, they were supposed to finish out the basement. And there's supposed to be a laundry room and a little office and a half bath and a little sitting area down there. They didn't even do the French drain right or anything else. Water leaked into the basement. They did not seal the walls. Nothing correctly. Water leaked in, and every bit of work that I had paid him for. Black mold crawled right up the walls within a year. Not even a year, I don't think. And that was 61 Pleasant. 484 Lick Run Road. All they did was party and drink in that house and didn't finish one thing in that house. In fact, I had to hire another construction crew to go in and finish the house. Then he was working on South Kearns, which we got involved in because he brought a guy by the name of Freddie Tingler to us. And Freddie was doing our heating and air conditioning units in the properties. Well, I'll tell you what, don't hire Mountain State Heating and Cooling because they will not ground your air conditioning and heating units. There's a drain pipe that if they don't run it down correctly, it will flood and flood your ceilings, which happened to us. Because Freddie Tingler knows about as much about heating and air conditioning as I know about being a brain surgeon. But we did get into a contract on a property on South Kearns Avenue, which was gutted. And we went in and put wood floors, granite countertops, carpet, you know, you name it, we did it. Finished out that house, and it was pretty nice. And Brian worked for us. But what I didn't know at the time was Brian was working for Freddie Tingler's girlfriend, Tammy Shreves. In fact, it took a lot longer to do that property than it should have done. And the reason being is because he was coming and collecting money from us to work on our properties. And he was going over and working on Tammy Shreve's properties. Anyway, out of all those properties, I think if you added it all together, he finished 1. And we had him under 4 of them. And then there was the stealing of the materials. Oh my God, they were stealing. I kept having to go to Lowe's and Big Lots and everywhere, trying to just replace stuff all the time. And Brian tried to put it on, oh my God, who were the guys that we had for the plumbing? There were 3 of them. And they were really nice. We called them the Singing Plumbers. Oh, what was his name? Oh, I'll remember it in a minute. But those guys were okay. They were a bit expensive, but they did good work. Brian and them kept blaming it on them, saying they were stealing. But actually, people, no way. I'm telling you, no way. Because those Singing Plumbers were big Christians.